The sky was burning orange. Smoke curled up into the air as pieces of metal and fire fell from the sky. The ship had crashed hard. Jace groaned, pushing himself up from the cracked dirt. His suit was torn at the shoulder, and blood dripped down. His arm, he looked around, wreckage everywhere. Pieces of his escape pod lay twisted. Melted. He was alone. The rest of his team gone. The planet was dry, the air heavy and strange. Giant red rocks surrounded him like sharp teeth. The wind made a low howling sound, like something was crying far away. Jace grabbed his survival bag and limped forward. He needed shelter, he needed food, and most of all he needed hope, but what he found instead was something else entirely. After walking for an hour, Jace spotted smoke rising from behind a hill of broken stones. He climbed over the sharp rocks carefully. On the other side, he found the remains of a nest. A giant nest made of black bones and scorched branches. Something had destroyed it recently. Ash floated in the air like snow. Then he heard it. A small sound. Whimper. Jace. He looked closer. Among the broken sticks and burned feathers, something was glowing soft blue light, pulsing like a heartbeat. He reached down carefully and picked it up. It was warm. An egg. It fit in both hands, but barely. It was smooth, with tiny dark veins under the glowing surface. Jace looked around. Whatever had made this nest was gone, probably dead. And this little thing, it was crying. He felt something in his chest. A strange feeling. He had no one left, no team, no orders, no future. But now he had this. I guess we're both alone now, he whispered, holding the egg close to his chest. Far away, hidden in the tall purple grass, 3 alien warriors watched him. He found the egg, one said, his voice full of fear. He doesn't know what it is, another replied. No human should raise that creature, the oldest said. It will wake the old blood. They vanished into the wind. That night, Jace made a small shelter under a half-broken ship wing. He placed the egg in a blanket near the fire. It pulsed gently, like it was sleeping. He spoke to it like a child. I don't know what you are, but you're not alone anymore. Suddenly, the egg gave a little shake. Jace sat up. Hey, are you okay? A crack appeared on the surface. Then another. Jace backed up a little. Whoa, you're hatching? The egg broke open slowly, and a small creature slid out. It was wet, weak, and shivering. Its skin was soft black with tiny silver scales. Its eyes opened, bright, glowing. Yellow. It looked at Jace and didn't cry. Instead it crawled toward him, resting against his chest. Jace stared, surprised. You, like me? The creature gave a soft purr. In the jungle, the tribal council gathered around a fire. Elder Velma stood with a dark face. She held her staff tight. The egg has hatched, she said. But not by us. A human holds it. Now, gasps went through the crowd. The last time this creature was born, our land burned for 10 years, a voice said. We buried the eggs for a reason, another elder whispered. And now one is reborn. Raised by an outsider. Princes. Velra stood in silence. She was tall, strong, with sharp purple eyes. She looked up. We must see this human. Back in his camp, Jace fed the baby creature small pieces of protein bar. It ate quickly, like it had never tasted food before. He laughed a little. You're a hungry little thing, aren't you? He thought for a moment. I need to give you a name. The creature blinked slowly, curling its long tail around Jace's arm. Karoo, he said. That's what I'll call you. Karoo tilted its head, as if understanding. Jace smiled. For the first time since the crash, he didn't feel empty. But just beyond the edge of the trees, watching from the shadows. The princess stood, her eyes locked on the human and the creature. She whispered, he doesn't know what he's done. Asterisk, The creature didn't sleep that first night. Neither did Jace. Sat curled beside him under the torn metal wing. Its glowing yellow eyes never blinked, not once. It stared at the fire, like it remembered it, like it knew fire. Jace spoke softly. "You're not normal, are you?" Karoo turned its head toward him, slowly, like it understood. Jace wasn't sure what he had brought into this world, but he knew one thing. He couldn't let it die. By the third day, Karoo could walk. By the fifth day, it could run. Jace built a little training ring near the crash site. He used ship parts and wires to make targets. Karoo watched him, learning everything he did. When Jace threw a rock, Karoo copied. When he climbed a tree, Karoo followed. Its body was changing fast, from the size of a puppy to the size of a small child. Fangs were growing. The silver scales on its skin started to harden. Its tail could lift a metal beam. Jace watched in silence as Karoo leapt through the air and crushed a training dummy in one hit. "You're learning too fast," he muttered. Far across the jungle, Princess Velra stood before the ancient skull stone. Her fingers touched the carvings burned into it. "Centuries ago, born in blood," she whispered. "Trained in war, a weapon of the old times." Behind her, her guard captain frowned. "Why are you protecting him? You saw what he's raising." Velra didn't look back. "Yes, and I saw something else too." The creature didn't bite. It didn't kill. It chose the human. The captain hissed. "It's tricking him. That thing is death in flesh." Velra turned, her voice cold. "Then why hasn't it killed him?" Silence. Back at the camp, Jace gave Karoo his own sleeping mat. But Karoo didn't use it. Instead, it slept right beside Jace, one clawed hand resting on the human's foot, like a guard, like a shadow. Sometimes Jace woke up and saw Karoo staring at the stars, unmoving, like it remembered them. "How much do you understand?" he asked one night. Karoo slowly raised its head, then copied the word. "Understand." Jace froze. "You can speak?" Karoo smiled, sharp teeth flashing. It was trying to. Soon the jungle animals began to disappear. No sounds, no birds, no insects. Only silence. The tribes noticed. "The beast walks again," one old woman whispered, clutching a charm. "It is the shadow of death." But one girl in the tribe, a young hunter, argued. "No, I've seen it. The creature doesn't attack unless someone attacks first. It protects the human." The elders dismissed her. "Even the devil can wear a kind face." Jace began to notice something strange. Wherever Karoo walked, the land changed. Flowers wilted. The air grew colder. But when Karoo was calm, the trees bloomed again. It was like the creature had two sides. One peaceful, one untamed. And one night, that other side woke up. A tribal scout crept too close to Jace's camp. A whisper in the leaves. A hand on a blade. Karoo heard it before Jace did. The scout didn't even have time to scream. By the time Jace reached the scene, the man was on the ground, pale and frozen, but still breathing. Karoo stood over him, tail wrapped tightly around the man's throat. "Karoo," Jace shouted. "Let him go." Karoo turned to Jace, eyes glowing white. But after a long moment, it obeyed. The scout gasped, crawling away. Jace dropped to his knees. "What are you?" Karoo looked at him, then placed one claw on Jace's chest. "Yours," it whispered. Far away, Princess Velra watched from the shadows again. She had seen the way Karoo moved, how it protected the human, how it spared life. Her heart beat faster. "Maybe," she whispered, "this time, it will be different." But deep in the forest, something else was watching Karoo too. Something older. Something that remembered what the creature was truly meant to become, and it was waking up. The message came with blood. A severed bone spear was stabbed into the dirt near Jace's camp. Wrapped around it was a scrap of cloth, painted with the mark of the Moonfang tribe. Jace picked it up slowly. His jaw tightened. This is a warning. Karoo sniffed the spear, growling deep in his throat. His scales shimmered in the firelight, shifting from silver to black like storm clouds rolling in. Jace looked at his companion. "They're afraid of you." Karoo didn't answer, but his eyes narrowed toward the trees. He could feel them, watching. Waiting at the center of the Moonfang village, the great fire roared high. All the elders stood around it in a tight circle. Warriors stood at the edges, tense, armed and silent. Elder Grand's voice echoed across the fire pit. "The creature is growing. It has already attacked one of our own. What more proof do we need?" Elder Vex, older and wiser, shook her head. "The scout lived. The creature did not kill him." "That's worse," shouted another. "It chose not to kill. That means it knows. That means it's thinking." Murmurs of fear spread like smoke. Velra stood apart, arms crossed, watching them argue. When they called her name, she finally stepped forward. "The human did not create the beast. He raised it, cared for it, and it listens to him." Grand's eyes burned with hate. "Then the human must be the first to fall." Velra's voice cut like a blade. "Say that again, and I'll make you bleed for it." The council fell silent. She turned to the fire. "I've seen death. I've seen monsters, but what I saw in that camp was not evil. The creature didn't protect itself. It protected him." In the jungle, the wind carried whispers. Old spirits stirred beneath the earth, and deep inside Karoo's bones, something ancient was waking up. That night, Jace found a circle of red stones arranged outside his shelter, a tribal symbol. A curse. A silent promise: leave or burn. He sat by the fire, thinking. Karoo rested nearby, curled like a sleeping dragon. His tail flipped once in his dreams. His chest rose and fell. Jace whispered, "They'll come soon. I don't know if I can stop them." Karoo opened one eye. "Run?" Jace smiled sadly. "That's the thing, Karoo. I don't run." The next day, Velra arrived alone. No guards. No weapons. Only her tall figure and sharp eyes. Jace stood at the edge of the wreck, hand on his blade. "You again." "I'm not here to fight." "Good. Because you wouldn't win." Velra raised a brow. "You sound sure." "I've been sure since the day I held that egg." She looked past him. Karoo stood on a rock, watching her quietly. Taller now, thicker claws, tail sharp like a blade. "He grows fast," she said. "He learns fast too." Velra's eyes didn't leave the creature. "Does he understand what he is?" Jace stepped in front of her. "He understands enough." "I came to warn you," Velra said. "The elders voted. They're calling the judgment." "What's that?" Jace asked. "A trial by combat. You survive it, or the tribe hunts you until your bones rot under the trees." Jace chuckled bitterly. "Sounds like a nice welcome." Velra's voice grew softer. "You don't have to stay. You can leave, hide. He'll follow you. You two could disappear." Jace looked back at Karoo. "No," he said. Running would teach him the wrong lesson. Far above, hidden in the clouds, a shadow passed over the land. Something was coming, something that remembered Karoo from long ago. That night, Karoo sat beside Jace again. His claws were longer now. His back had small ridges. His tail had grown sharper. But when he leaned against Jace, he was still soft, still warm. "Are you scared?" Jace asked him. Karoo shook his head slowly. "I have you." Jace stared at the stars. "They think you're a monster, but you saved me. You're my friend." Karoo looked up. "Then, we fight?" Jace smiled. "Yeah, we fight." The sky was too quiet. No birds. No wind. Even the trees held their breath. Jace felt it in his bones. Something was about to happen. Karoo stood still, his body tense, tail slowly swaying, his yellow eyes locked on the trees. He didn't blink, didn't breathe. Jace whispered, "You sense it too, don't you?" Karoo growled low. The jungle replied. With silence. Then, a whistle, a spear shot from the trees. Jace rolled to the ground just in time. Karoo leapt. The spear struck metal behind them and shattered. Shards flew like glass. Another followed. Then another, from the shadows 6 tribal warriors rushed forward, painted in red and black, faces marked with the symbol of war. No warnings. No talking, only blood in their eyes. Karoo didn't wait. He became something else. His muscles moved like coiled wires. His claws sliced through the first spear mid-air. His tail whipped around, cracking the chestplate of a warrior and sending him flying. Jace backed away, weapon in hand, but Karoo didn't need help. He was fast. Too fast, but something was wrong. He wasn't just defending. He was hunting. One warrior screamed. Karoo's claws were at his throat, but instead of finishing the kill, he stopped. Karoo looked back, looked at Jace. His claws shook. "Do I kill?" he asked, voice rough and quiet. Jace ran forward, grabbing Karoo's shoulder. "No, you don't have to." Karoo's chest rose and fell. He dropped the warrior, who scrambled away in fear. The other attackers hesitated. Their faces were pale. One shouted, "He speaks." Another cried, "He chooses not to kill." The warriors broke formation and vanished into the jungle like ghosts. Karoo stood still, blood dripping from his claws. Not his own. Jace looked into the creature's glowing eyes. "You held back." Karoo nodded. "I wanted to kill, but didn't." He whispered, "Because you." Jace felt a cold wind pass through his chest. This wasn't just a pet. This wasn't just an animal. Karu was something more. Something dangerous. But trying not to be. Far away, Princess Velra threw open the temple doors. "You attacked them?" She shouted at Elder Gran. "They are alive," he said coldly. "Barely. You broke the agreement," Gran spat. "That thing is unnatural. Every day it grows stronger. Soon not even you can stop it." Velra's eyes burned. "You didn't want to test it. You wanted it dead." Gran stepped close. "I've seen that creature before. Long ago, when I was a boy, it burned my village to ash." Velra's voice dropped to a whisper. "This one is not the same." Gran turned away. "No, it's worse." That night, Jace sat with Karoo beside the fire. Neither of them spoke. For a while, Karoo finally said, "Why do they fear me?" Jace sighed. "Because they think they know what you'll become. Do you?" Jace looked at him. "No, but I believe you can choose." Karoo's eyes closed slowly. "I want to be better." Jace placed a hand on the creature's shoulder. "Then start by surviving. There's going to be more." In the mountains beyond the jungle, an ancient beast stirred. It was once the ruler of the skies, feared by all. It had not woken in 100 years, but it felt something now, a pulse, a scent, a challenge. Its eyes opened. The old blood was rising again. Jace didn't expect her that night, but there she stood in the rain. Princess Velra, soaked to the bone, her dark robes clinging to her tall figure. Behind her, lightning lit the sky. No guards, no warriors. Just her, and the look in her eyes. It wasn't anger. It wasn't fear. It was something far more dangerous, desperation. Karoo growled low, standing between her and Jace. "Easy," Jace said, stepping forward. "If she meant harm, she wouldn't come alone." Karoo hesitated, then moved back. But his eyes never left her. Velra stepped closer. Water dripped from her hood. "I came because I have no choice." Jace crossed his arms. "You tried to warn me before. I didn't listen." Velra shook her head. This time, I'm not warning you, I'm begging you." She sat near the fire, silent for a while, staring into the flames. Jace sat across from her. Karoo crouched nearby like a silent shadow. Velra finally spoke. "The elders will gather at sunrise. They plan to name you and the creature a curse on this land." Jace didn't flinch. "Let me guess, more spears? No, not this time. Sacred trial. They'll bring you to the pit." "What's the pit?" Her voice dropped. "A test of survival, no rules, no allies. They'll release something ancient. And if you survive, you're free." Jace scoffed. "And if I don't?" Velra stared at the fire. "Then your bones will be added to the pile." Karoo stood and growled. "I fight." Velra looked at him for the first time, really looked. She didn't see a monster. She saw the sharp, powerful body. And the calm behind his eyes. "You speak," she said softly. Karu nodded. "I learn for him." Jace smiled. "He learns because he wants to be better." Velra's hands tightened into fists. That's what scares them the most. Lightning cracked the sky again. Jace looked at Velra. "So what do you want from me?" Velra took a breath. "I want you to run. Tonight, take the creature, disappear. I'll tell the council I never found you." Jace stood. "I told you." "I don't run." Velra stood too. Her voice cracked slightly. "This isn't about pride. This is survival. They'll send the Risen. It's not a beast, it's a nightmare. I've seen it once." Jace didn't answer. Velra stepped closer. "Please, I've watched you. You care for that creature like it's your own child. But this time, caring won't be enough." Karoo moved beside Jace, his tail curling protectively around his leg. "I'm not leaving him," Jace said. Velra. "Look down," her voice broke. "Then I'll stand with you." Jace blinked. "What?" Velra looked up. "If you won't run." "Then I'll stay. I'll walk with you into the trial. I'll speak before the council. I'll tell them what I saw, a creature with claws that chose mercy, and a human who taught him how." Jace stared at her for a long moment. "Why?" he asked. She answered with one word. "Hope." Far across the jungle, a deep roar shook the earth. The trees trembled. Birds fled. Old stones cracked. The Risen had awakened. Its eyes burned like suns. Its breath melted rocks, and it remembered. One scent above all, the blood of its ancient rival. That night, Jace sharpened his knife. Karoo lay beside him, tail curled like a shield. Velra sat across from them, cleaning her spear. 3 souls. A human, a monster, and a princess. Bound by a choice. Jace looked at them and said quietly, "Tomorrow we stand together." Karoo nodded. "We survive." Velra whispered, "Or we die as more than what they think we are." Outside the camp, the stars disappeared, swallowed by smoke. The storm was coming. The pit was not a place. It was a graveyard, a circle of black stone deep in the jungle, carved out centuries ago. The ground was cracked. Bones filled the edges like fallen leaves. The sky above it seemed too quiet, as if sound itself refused to touch this cursed place. Jace stood at the edge of the pit, staring down. Sweat clung to his back, but not from heat. Beside him, Karoo growled low. Behind him, Velra placed a hand on his shoulder. "They'll watch from the cliffs," she whispered. "They'll want to see how you die." Jace tightened his grip on his blade. Let them watch something else. The tribe gathered in silence above the stone circle. Elders, warriors, mothers, children, even those who feared the old stories could not look away. Gran stood tall, face carved from stone. "Let the trial begin. Release the Risen." The crowd gasped. Velra's eyes widened. "They're not waiting. They're unleashing it now." Jace nodded once. "Good. I hate long speeches." The gates at the far end of the pit began to shake. Boom, boom. Chains rattled. Stone cracked. Then it stepped out. First a claw, thick as a tree. Then a body long coiled, armored in bone. Its mouth opened, and smoke poured from its throat. Rows of red eyes blinked across its head. The Risen had come, and it was hungry. Jace backed up slowly. Karoo, but Karoo was already stepping forward. Karoo was already stepping forward. Risen growled, and the earth trembled. The crowd above screamed. A few tried to flee, but the elders made them stay. They must see the truth, Gran shouted. They must watch what happens when you raise a monster. Karoo stared at the beast. The Risen lowered its head. Not in respect, in recognition. It remembered Karoo. It remembered his kind. It had killed them all. But one. With a roar that cracked the stones, the Risen lunged. Karoo moved like lightning, dodging, flipping, slicing with claws. The two titans clashed, scales grinding against bone, tail against fang. Jace stood back, eyes wide. The ground split. Dust flew. Stone shattered. Then Karoo was thrown. He hit the far wall hard. Blood leaked from his shoulder. His breathing slowed. No! Jace shouted. The crowd above cheered. It ends now, but then. Something happened. Karoo stood up. His scales turned fully silver, shining like metal under the moon. His eyes went white. His claws glowed faintly blue. He was evolving. Jace whispered, stunned. You were never just a predator. You were meant to be a weapon, Velra gasped. No, not a weapon. She saw something the others didn't. He wasn't fighting for himself. He was fighting for them. Karoo roared, not like a beast, but like something born from fire and sky. He rushed the Risen. Again, this time faster, smarter, controlled. He dodged every strike, climbed its back, and drove both claws into the creature's neck. The Risen shrieked, fell, and stopped moving. Dead silence. Jace ran to Karoo's side. You okay? Karoo dropped to one knee, tired but alive. Jace smiled, heart pounding. You did it. You chose to protect. The crowd above was stunned. No one spoke. Then Velra stepped forward. She raised her voice for all to hear. Look at him. The human did not raise a monster. He raised a hero. Gasps filled the crowd. Some dropped their weapons. Others stepped forward, bowing slowly. Even Elder Vex lowered her head. Perhaps we were wrong, but Gran did not bow. He turned, face dark with hate. This is only the beginning, he growled. The creature is still cursed, and curses always return. He vanished into the trees, his shadow fading. Back in the pit, Jace sat beside Karoo. Velra stood tall beside them, no longer as a watcher, but as a defender. Karoo looked up at the stars. Did I do good? Jace smiled. You did more than that, Velra added softly. You gave us all a reason to believe again. The jungle was quiet. The pit was cold and empty now. Only broken stones and claw marks remained, silent proof of the battle that had changed everything. But change was never easy, and peace never came without a price. Jace sat by the river, washing blood from his arms. Karoo lay in the shade, breathing slowly. His body was covered in scars, but his eyes were calm. The storm had passed, but something still felt unfinished. Velra stood before the Moonfang. Counsel. She wore no crown, no armor, only truth. I watched the trial with my own eyes, she said. The human didn't use the creature to kill. He taught it mercy. He taught it love. Gran stood on the side, silent, staring at the ground. He had lost the fight, but not his hate. Elder Vex stepped forward. And what would you have us do, Princess? Invite the beast into our tribe? Let it walk among our children. Velra raised her head. Yes, gasps filled the hall. She didn't stop. I stand with them. If you cast them out, then cast me out too. Later that night, Jace sat at the edge of the campfire. Karoo rested nearby, watching the stars. The silence between them was peaceful. Velra arrived with quiet steps. She sat down across from Jace. "Well?" he asked. "Did they burn your name?" "No," she said softly. "But they asked me to make a choice." Jace frowned. "What kind of choice?" Velra smiled sadly. "Stay with the tribe, or walk away with you." The fire cracked between them. Karoo looked at her, eyes glowing faintly. Jace lowered his voice. "You don't have to give up your life for us." "I'm not," she whispered. "I'm choosing a new life." The next morning, the village gates opened. The people watched silently as the princess walked away, not with gold, not with guards, but beside a human. And the creature they once called cursed, a warrior, a friend, a family. Weeks passed. They built a home near the river, away from fear. Jace fished. Karoo helped hunt. Velra taught them the names of stars and trees. Sometimes, Karoo sat on the hilltop alone, eyes toward the jungle. "Do you miss them?" Jace once asked. Karoo didn't answer right away. Then he said, "They feared me, but you chose me." Jace placed a hand on his shoulder. "You gave them a reason to stop fearing. That's more than most ever do." One evening, Velra looked at them both and smiled. "You know what's strange?" "What?" Jace asked. "I once believed Karoo would destroy us." Karoo tilted his head. "Did I?" She laughed gently. "No, you saved us." And far in the mountains, a new egg pulsed in the ashes of the old dot. It glowed faintly, waiting to be found, waiting for someone brave enough to raise the impossible again.